as you know, I've not been terribly well recently. I've not been able to do my usual monologues and the interviews and things like that. And in fact, the last 7 days, I've had quite disruptive illness. I don't need to go into any details about it. But what it's given me an opportunity, I suppose, is to stop and to think about the mess that we're in, and to think about where I want to go in life, and to think about what the answer is, in my humble opinion, and this is only my opinion. I spend most of these winter evenings, I was going to say cold winter evenings, they're chilly but they're not cold. I don't know what's happened to the winter. Where have been those very hard frosty days? Perhaps it's the chemtrails keeping us just warm enough to keep enough viruses or germs or whatever floating about to keep us not as healthy as perhaps we ought to be, that a harsh winter would ordinarily have done. But thinking, and I've been doing a lot of that, about what the answer is, and reading. I sit here, often I read with the lovely Julia, my partner. We read to each other. I've got some old books. The Lost Village here by Richard Asquith is an amazing book about a man it was written in about 2009, and he goes off in a quest to look for the ideal village. Not the village that we see today, the modern village of big flash cars and nobody about, but the village of the old days where people used to work, where there was the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, the squire, and people rubbed shoulders with one another, the landowners and the labourers. And he, as I have when I've gone round villages and churches and old communities in the times of when I was doing this as the Bald Explorer, realised that these are now these small villages, these beautiful thatched cottages. These are the ghettos of the rich, those that can afford to get away to the countryside. I'm in the town. It may look like I'm out in the countryside, but I'm actually in the town. And as you can see, I fashioned my kitchen in the 1930s type, old-fashioned. I'm not into this modern world. And it's that I want to talk about, because I think the answer is in the past. I think we have been enticed into this new modernity, and it was enticing, going from analogue to digital, in which we have flat screens and incredible magic. We can sit there and look at invisible worlds. We can look up things and not bother to go to the library. But with it has come complacency and laziness. And not just for us who remember the analogue days, but mainly for those that have been born from the 1990s onwards, in which they've known really nothing but the internet, nothing but the digital way of life, nothing of the old ways. I made a video the other day about Biggleswick and how the Postmaster General was keen to see the English country dancing going on. And of course, Biggleswick is an allegory, but I think it is the truth. It is what I think the future needs to be, because the people who watch this, my videos, will be of a certain age. I know that. You will be people who do remember the old ways. Those people who are perhaps slowing down now in life and enjoy that slowness and have realised, not only with maturity, but with the realisation of what we've been pushed in front of us, that actually our lives have sped up to the point of we have no time to actually live them. There'll be people watching this video at 1.5 or 2 times speed, because their lives are so fast that they have no time to slow down. And this, I think, is a madness. We have got to slow down and realise those things which are actually important to us. For me, very often, apart from being outside, watching the scenery of the landscape, the heritage and nature, sitting here by a real fire on my wood-burning stove, switching off the lights, occasionally having candles on, and doing basically nothing, not watching television, but thinking, pondering, and enjoying my own quiet time. And that's important, but so is community. Community is also very important. Community is that thing that brings people together. And I think the answer is not to sit in our little boxes behind those screens, but is to get back out into the community and show the younger generation, who are so busy with bringing up families and dealing with sudden death and awful problems like that, that there is a better world than sitting behind these mobile phones and being radiated by 5G. You see, the old communities had pubs, churches, village halls, parish halls. People got together round the piano and they danced and they sang and they enjoyed themselves. They made their own entertainment. They didn't allow professionals on television do the entertainment for them. They didn't sit there watching soap operas as people had interesting lives and forgetting that they have their own interesting lives. No, they didn't realise that actually, in the old days, it didn't matter if you made a complete fool out of yourself. It didn't matter if things went wrong, if you just got together in a pub and had a bit of a sing-song around the piano. If you just sat outside on a bench and smoked a pipe. Young and old coming together, enjoying each other's company. We've got to do that again. We, the older generation, have got to show the younger generation what life is actually about. We've got to open up those parish halls, those old school halls, if they still exist, and fill it with people dancing, laughing and singing. I know I'm repeating myself. But if we don't do it, who is going to do it? We are the last of the generation that know of the analogue world, where people were once face to face, living and breathing, dancing and laughing. Sweat streaming down. They'd been out on the hard labour of the fields, working in the land. This is what we need to get back to. I do not think that the future lies sitting under strip lighting in front of screens in call centres. I know that modernisation has given us a lot, and it's true, it has. And we don't have to break our backs, and we can have a few things, but we have too many things, don't we? We have too much. We don't appreciate that what we have. We don't enjoy those things. We don't save up for anything anymore. We don't look forward to something because everything is instant gratification. Nothing takes time anymore to learn and do. This is the essence of life, is striving and then achieving, not having it in an instant. We're the last generation, and we've got to try and instill to the next generation what life is all about, because they've only got references in those books that will be around and on those old YouTube videos that will be about. And they'll be living them in some i.e. constructed monstrosity. We need to get people back into the pubs, back enjoying themselves, singing, community, not staying on their own, growing locally. There's so much work to do. Anyway, these are the thoughts of a man who's been ill for a few days. Who's decided to take up smoking a pipe because it's something that slows you down, has better quality tobacco, which actually is quite good if anyone's shedding a little bit of the you-know-what. For we now understand, of course, that nicotine is actually very good for you and not addictive as they make out. So I shall continue to look into the fire, smoke my pipe and meditate. But I'm not looking back. I'm reflecting on what we've had before and what we need to bring into the communities now before it's too late.